Are you ready for 5 MLB picks for today, Tuesday, May 13th? I'm Professor MJ, holder of a PhD in statistics and bookie crusher since 1999. I have something new for you today, as I'm going to start introducing a star rating with each play. More on this later. So here's the plan. First, we're going to do a recap. Then I'm going to discuss the brand new star rating, and then I will unveil my 5 baseball picks for today. So let's start with a recap. So yesterday I shared 6 free plays with you. 3 out of 6 were winners, and if you take into account the odds from each bet, we lost $66 by pretending as if we are risking $100 per bet. So that stopped our 4 days in a row where we posted a positive gain. So this time we could not extend the winning streak to 5, unfortunately. Now, what about the famous lobster bet, which is the best wager across all sports? I took Anthony Edwards from the Timberwolves to record under 6.5 rebounds. He finished the night with 4 rebounds, so this was another winner. So we have now won 6 of the past 7 lobster bets. And since I started sharing those super high confidence plays, we have posted a 15-5 record. Now I'm going to open up very soon a new package where you can sign up to receive them. So it usually goes on over a 7-day period. So right now we have subscribers getting picks from May 8th to May 14th, which is tomorrow. So if you're interested to sign up to receive those lobster bets in your mailbox, I will offer a link tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Like I said earlier, I'll start introducing a grade with each pick. And it's really important that you understand how it works. I've done it in the past in the NFL, but here's why I stopped grading my picks in the NFL. It was really annoying seeing the comments of people who were complaining or just did not understand how they work. And the big reason or the big problem was that whenever a pick was graded like 1 star out of 5 or 2 stars out of 5, some people were complaining, well, stop giving us some crappy picks. But here's the deal. All the picks that I share here are worth betting in my humble opinion. Alright, but I am grading them among all of those picks that I believe are worth betting. So even if it's rated 1 star, it doesn't mean like it's a crappy pick, okay? Those who are crappy are not discussed on this YouTube channel. So let me show you the explanations. So 5 stars means it is a premium pick, and it actually means that I have shared it at mjpicks.com, which is the place to go if you want to get my very best picks. By the way, you get an average of maybe between 30 and 45 premium picks per week if you sign up for all sports. 4 stars means it is a great pick, so it is not shared at mjpicks.com because it is not among the top of the top, and personally I prefer to stick to those. 3 stars means it is a good pick. 2 stars, it's a decent pick. And finally, 1 star means it is a borderline acceptable pick. So again, it doesn't mean it's a crappy one. As you can see at the bottom, I am grading picks among all of those who are viewed as being good enough to bet. So 1 star does not mean it's a crappy pick. There are no bad bets presented here. Alright, so hopefully those explanations are clear. If things don't go very well, I'm going to just stop grading picks. But some people have been asking for those grades, so I'll give it a shot once more. Alright, so let's get started with today's free plays. And by the way, one of them is rated 5 stars. It is a premium play. So let's start with pick number 1. It concerns the Minnesota-Baltimore game. And I am opting for the Orioles money line. The best available odds about half an hour ago were minus 121. which is close to 1.82 in 1.83 in decimal. Now the grade is 2 stars out of 5, so it is viewed as being a decent pick. Now, well, incredibly enough, the Twins are riding a 8-game winning streak, which is fantastic after starting the season with a 13-20 record. And meanwhile, the Orioles continue to disappoint, but at least they took 2 games out of 3 at the Los Angeles Angels in their last series. However, it is worth noting that the Twins have looked completely different away from home, and that is shown by their 6-14 record on the road. And also, we have the revenge factor that I value a lot. So in fact, the Twins swept those same Orioles about a week ago. So this is fresh in the mind of the Orioles players who will be looking for some payback. So that's one more reason why I like Baltimore in this spot. And another reason is because Baltimore also qualifies under a betting system called the Hot Teams Matchup Number 2. Let's review its rules. Bet the home team if the road club has won at least 4 games in a row, whereas the home squad has won either 1 or 2 consecutive games. Now, in the current case, the road team is Minnesota, and they are riding an 8-game winning streak. And meanwhile, Baltimore is at home, and they have won 1 game in a row. Now, it's interesting to note that we get an average of only 19 picks per season by following those rules. So it is a very picky betting angle. So far in 2025, we have had 3 qualifying picks and they have generated a 2-1 record. On demand, we have 2 fairly unreliable pitchers. On the Minnesota side, we have Simeon Woods-Richardson facing Cade Povich for Baltimore. It's worth noting that Woods-Richardson owns a road ERA this season of 5.30 versus 2.40 at home. He's been much more efficient at home, but the bad news for him is he is starting on the road today. So for all of these reasons, I like the Orioles to win. But among all the picks that I feel like are worth betting, it's a bit below average. That's why it's rated 2 stars. You all know how the Orioles have been inconsistent. They have been disappointing despite having some talent on paper, but the talent has not translated into many wins. So I'm a bit wary. So I will be a bit conservative and grade it 2 stars. All right, up next, let's talk about the Boston-Detroit game. And this time, I'm going to take the home underdog, the Tigers, to win outright against the Red Sox. As you can see, the best available line was plus 105. And this pick is rated 3 stars out of 5. So it is viewed as being a good pick, if you remember the meaning of the grading system here. All right, in this case, well, the Tigers have been stronger than Boston this season, and they are also at home, and yet they are underdogs. And there is one reason for that, and it is the pitching duel. However, I'm not sure that the line is actually right in this case. Well, first, Brian Bellows' numbers are misleading to me. His ERA looks fantastic on the surface, 2.01, which is really good. But his whip stat, walks plus hits per inning pitch, is 1.34, which is close to the league average of 1.30. And by the way, last year, Bellows' whip stat was 1.36, and the year before, 1.34. So it's always been close to 1.35. And in those 2 prior seasons, his ERA was above 4. So why the heck is it close to 2 this season? The reason is he's been a bit lucky. And we have a prime example if we take a look at his past outing. He lasted so he tossed 4 2/3 scoreless innings, even though he gave up 4 hits and he also issued 5 walks. So that was a lot of traffic on the bases, and yet he found a way not to give up any run. But at some point, he's going to get burned. And by the way, in his last appearance, he also recorded just 1 punch-out, which is not reassuring at all. Sorry. And meanwhile, Detroit will go to a bullpen game. Tyler Holton will be the opening pitcher for maybe 1 or 2 innings before Kaider Montero will take over, as he will serve as a bulk reliever. Now, Montero's numbers don't look great with a 4.15 ERA, but he's been rock solid over his past 2 outings. In fact, he gave up just 1 earned run in 4 1/3 innings against Baltimore, and then in his last appearance, he gave up just 1 earned run in 8 innings of work at Coors Field, which is very hitter-friendly. Well, I know that the Rockies don't have a potent offense, but still giving up just 1 earned run in 8 innings at Coors Field is a good job. By the way, Bello has had 2 career starts against the Tigers, and he's posted an 0-1 record coupled with a 6.55 ERA. And finally, it's worth noting how the Tigers fit under the blowout number 1 betting strategy, whose rules are quite simple. Bet any team that won its prior match by a margin of at least 8 runs if they are facing the same opponent again. Now, yesterday, they defeated those same Red Sox 14-2, so winning by a 12-run margin certainly qualifies as a blowout. So by following the rules, we must bet the Tigers. Now, this is not one of my favorite betting angles. It has not fared super well in recent years, and so far in the 2025 campaign, we have obtained an 18-20 record for a loss of around 4 units, if I remember correctly. But still, I am picking my spots, and in this case, I feel like the blowout number 1 may be onto something, so I like the Tigers to win straight up. That's my second pick, and remember, it's graded 3 stars. And now, I promised there would be one pick graded 5 stars. Here it comes, and it is supported by maybe my favorite betting system in baseball among the 19 I have developed, called the scoring drought. Well, before we review its rules, it also won yesterday. If you watch yesterday's video, I mentioned how Atlanta qualified under the scoring drought system, and they prevailed 4-3 against the Nationals. So that raised the season's record of this betting angle to 14 wins versus 2 losses for a return on investment of 29.3%, which is fantastic. And we've had similar great numbers in each of the prior 2 years. So like I said, this betting strategy won yesterday with the Braves prevailing 4-3. And the prior qualifying play was again the Braves on May 6th, a game in which they won 2-1 in extra innings. Now, can you see now why I stopped late last season to take the run line to get some better odds? In both cases, if I took the run line, which means you are betting on the team to win by a margin of at least 2 runs, we would have lost both of the 2 most recent picks, and instead we got the W. So I know that it's not exciting to bet at low odds, but profit is profit. So as you know, if you've been following me for years, I used to make that mistake of being too greedy, and when a team qualified under the scoring drought, sometimes I would opt for the run line instead, but I got burned too often, late last season, I said enough is enough. I'm going to stick to the money line because anyway, when I first developed this betting strategy, it was done by analyzing data on the money line, and it showed how it was working very well over a long period. All right, so let's review quickly the rules. Some of you already know them, but I want to make sure everyone is on the same level. It recommends fading the road team if they lost their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or fewer in each of those defeats, and if their money line today is greater than plus 150. Now, if we take a look quickly at the Miami Marlins, today they are on the road at Wrigley Field, and they lost their last 2 matches by scoring exactly 2 runs. And today their money line is higher than plus 150. If you are more familiar with decimal odds, we're talking about a threshold of 2.5. So the road club's money line must be higher than 2.5. That's the case. So by following those rules, we must grab the Chicago Cubs to win straight up against Miami. About an hour ago, when I shared this play to our members at mjpicks.com, the best available line was minus 244, which equates to 1.41 in decimal format. Now, I don't know if the line has changed since then, but I'm sharing those best odds to you as a reference point. And no, I am not going to make the mistake of being greedy and taking the Cubs with the run line, okay? I'm going to go with Chicago to win outright against Miami today. It has done a fantastic job this season. All right. Well, the Marlins are 5-13 on the road, so they have not had a lot of success away from home, and they have been struggling to put runs on the board. In fact, if you take a look at their last 5 matches, they have scored 2 runs or fewer in 4 out of 5 games. Now, this is not necessarily a super favorable pitching matchup, in my opinion. For Miami, Valente Beloso will get the nod, and he has done a fine job. His ERA currently sits at 3.50, and last season it was 3.67, so those are very decent numbers. He has done a fine job. And meanwhile, let's focus on Ben Brown, who is the starting hurler for the Cubs. He had a superb rookie season with a 1.08 whip statistic, which is awesome. But he has been reeling so far in the 2025 campaign. However, the good news is that he recorded 9 strikeouts against the Giants in his last appearance, so perhaps he is turning the corner. Well, I am sure hoping so. But anyway, the Cubs offense is a lot superior to Miami's offense, so I feel like this is a strong bet. Again, I know it's not exciting to bet at minus 250 odds, for example, but we've racked up a ROI of 29% this season, and we saw similar results in prior years. So clearly, the scoring drought betting angle is picking its spots very wisely. All right, so that's pick number 3, rated 5 stars. Now, the 4th free pick for today is graded 4 stars. It was close from being viewed as a premium pick, but for a few reasons, it did not quite make it. We're talking about a player prop bet. Dylan Cease, San Diego's starting pitcher, to record over 7.5 strikeouts. So in other words, I am banking on the fact that he will record at least 8 punch-outs at home against the Angels. All right, let's talk about this bet a little further. Well, first of all, it's a bit scary to bank this bet because Cease has reached the 8 strikeout threshold this year only once out of 8 starts. So that makes it quite scary. However, the only time he did it was in his last outing, and that was against the Yankees, so that makes it even more impressive. In that game, he only gave up 1 hit in 6 2/3 innings, while recording 9 strikeouts. One more thing in favor of this bet is the fact that he is facing the Halos, who have struck out the second most time in the majors this year, as you can see here on your screen. So the teams are ranked from the team that struck out the most often to the least often. And as you can see, the Angels have struck out the second most time in the league this year with 393 strikeouts, which is only 3 behind the Colorado Rockies. So these reasons explain why Dylan Cease is projected to record at least 8 strikeouts. I also have a mathematical model that estimates the fair lines, and in this case, it believes that the fair line should be minus 145. So that's the same as 1.69 in decimal. So in other words, if you are getting odds that are better than these, well, this is a good value wager. And finally, I am making my 5th pick about the Ace-Dodgers game. This one is graded 2 stars, and I'm taking the Dodgers with the run line. So just to make things clear, some people may be jumping on their seat saying, "What? Didn't you just say that you're not going to make any run line bets anymore?" Well, no, that's not what I said. What I said earlier was when a team fits under the scoring drought, I am betting them with the money line because that is what this system is recommending to do. But that doesn't mean that I never make run line bets like the one on the Dodgers today. Now, the Oakland or Sacramento or Vegas Athletics have been traveling well this season, so maybe they should remain as nomads if they keep winning. They are 13-7 away from home, and to the surprise of many betting experts, they are only 1.5 games back of the top spot in the American League West Division, which is currently occupied by the Seattle Mariners. Now, regarding the payrolls, this is truly a David versus Goliath battle. And unfortunately, I think that Goliath is going to win this time. So as I said earlier, the Ace have been doing much, much better than expected. But are they going back to reality? If you look at the last 5 games, they have dropped 4 of them. And now they are going to LA to face the Dodgers. So they are probably feeling like they are sliding and things may not get very good for them. All right. Now, Landon Knack starts for the Dodgers, and he currently owns a 4.61 ERA, which is mediocre. But his last two starts have gone very well for him. If you combine these 2 last appearances, he has given up 2 earned runs in 9 1/3 innings. I know what makes this bet a bit scary is the fact that the Dodgers are returning home after a long 10-game road trip. However, they have had a day off, so to me, it doesn't scare me too much. They have had some time to rest and get back home. So those are my 5 picks for today. As you can see, I did not mention it, but the Dodgers run line has corresponding odds that are plus 104. This is the best odds I saw earlier. You can see the screenshot taken from the FanDuel Sportsbook. And I want to wrap up this video by telling you more about the premium picks. So like I said earlier, so the picks that are graded 5 stars are premium plays that I share at mgpicks.com. And across the past 2 days, we have racked up a perfect 9-0 record. So on Sunday, we got a 4-0 record. You can see the picks at the top left corner. And yesterday, we made 5 plays, and they all won. So you can see there were 2 picks in Major League Baseball, including the Braves that I shared with you as a free play. We also took the Yankees to win outright at the Mariners. In the NBA, we took Anthony Edwards under 6.5 rebounds, which turned out to be the lobster bet, so the one I had the most confidence in. And in the NHL, we backed Dylan Strome from the Capitals to record at least 1 point, and he did pick up an assist on Washington's second goal. And we also took under 1.5 goals to be scored in the first period of the Washington-Carolina game, which was also a winner. And by the way, since mid-December, we've been crushing sportsbooks with a gain of between 40 and 50 units. We've been dismantling the sportsbooks. So if you are interested to get those high confidence picks that are all graded 5 stars, you must go to mjpicks.com to sign up. And on that platform, you can choose between a weekly or a monthly plan, and you can choose the number of sports that you want. So it could be 1 sport, 2 sports, or all sports. Obviously, you get the best bang for your buck by taking all sports. And to give you a vague idea, the cost of investment for 1 week for all sports is $35. So this is very affordable. And in return, you will get between 30 and 50 premium picks directly in your mailbox. All right, so this is Professor MJ from Quebec City. Thank you very much for watching this video. So sign up at mjpicks.com to get all premium plays. Or if you don't feel like doing it, that's okay. If you prefer to stick to my free picks on YouTube, I appreciate you a lot. Nonetheless, it's all good to me. So you can subscribe to my channel or make a comment below by sharing your favorite picks. I'm Professor MJ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.